1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The US President requests the world leaders to join hands to defeat COVID-19 pandemic and to overcome main challenges. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will address the summit at 9:30 p.m. local time today. The Cabinet approves to increase debt ceiling by another 400 billion rupees. Sri Lanka to obtain an additional loan grant of $100 million from IMF to cover COVID expenses. 4 projects to control environmental pollution will be implemented. International news, tremor rattles southeast Australia. Local news in detail now. President Joe Biden summoned the world nations to forcefully address the festering global issues of the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, and human rights abuses in his first address before the UN General Assembly yesterday. He decried military conflict and insisted the US is not seeking a new Cold War with China. The State Leaders Summit commenced last evening in Sri Lankan time in New York yesterday. State leaders who arrived at the summit was welcomed by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. But while stressing to fellow world leaders the urgency of working together, Biden avoided addressing criticism from allies about the chaotic US withdrawal from Afghanistan and a diplomatic tempest with France. Instead, Biden used his address before the annual gathering of world leaders to make his case that the United States remains a reliable international partner following 4 years of President Donald Trump's America First foreign policy. And I quote, "They are opening a new era of a relentless diplomacy of using the power of our development aid to invest in new ways of lifting people up around the world," unquote, Biden said. The president offered an impassioned plea for cooperation to friends and adversaries, arguing that overcoming a daunting list of crises will hinge on their ability to recognize their common humanity. He also pointed out that 90% of the African countries are waiting for the vaccines. Most of the rich nations were provided the vaccine. Today is the second day of the summit, and President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will address the summit at 9:30 p.m. local time today. The Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval to increase the national debt ceiling by another 400 billion rupees from 2,997 billion rupees to 3,397 billion due to the fall in revenue and increase in expenditure. Appropriation Act No. 7 of 2020 has approved a credit limit of 2,997 billion rupees for the year 2021. However, the approved credit limit has to be raised for the year 2021 due to declining government revenue under the situation that have arisen due to the COVID-19 pandemic and increased expenditure in several other sectors, including healthcare expenditure as well as social security protection for those who have lost income and having to make additional provisions for salaries and other expenses due to the loss of income of institutions which pay salaries from their income, a statement on cabinet decisions explained. The Sri Lankan government is planning to obtain an additional loan grant of $100 million from the International Monetary Fund to cover the COVID-19 vaccination costs. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has agreed to grant a supplementary loan of $100 million as emergency response to COVID-19 and preparation of health sector project under the Program of Strategic Preparation and Response to COVID-19 in Sri Lanka. As mentioned in the National Utility and Vaccination Plan for COVID-19 pandemic situations, the National Task Force for the Management of COVID has decided to widen the fundamental target of vaccinating 60% of the Sri Lanka population. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. 4 projects will be implemented to control the environmental pollution. These projects are to be implemented under the proposals made by the Brussels and Minamata Convention. A special international program of the United Nations Environment, Switzerland and the United Nations Technical Development Institutes have agreed to implement these projects during this year under their financial grounds. The cabinet approval have also been given to the relevant agreements. The progress of the proposed projects implemented under the Gamasamuga Pilisandra program will be observed. The first progress review meeting was held at the Biagama Provincial Council. All projects have been planned to develop infrastructure facilities in the rural areas and to enhance social welfare activities. And that ends local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya.
Minister Mahinda Amaravira has ordered the Central Environment Authority to provide a report on the incident of releasing fuel to the Diyavanna oil after conducting an investigation into this incident. It has been reported that the fuel layer is floating in the oil. If anyone or an institution is involved, legal action will be taken against them. And that was our main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watchlight.
And now in Watchlight.
It has been decided to purchase several new medical equipment on innovation recommendations for the betterment of the medical sector in the country. A group of private investors have agreed to produce this equipment locally. The government spends annually 30 billion rupees for the purchase of medical equipment. The experts in this field pointed out that new innovators can place their trust for their creations in the future. And that was Watchlight.
World News.
The headlines: Tremor rattles Southeast Australia. Pakistan Prime Minister says Afghan girls' school ban would be un-Islamic. China pledges to stop building new coal energy plants abroad. And world news in detail now. A 5.8 magnitude earthquake has rattled Southeast Australia, damaging buildings in the city of Melbourne. The earthquake happened today at Mansfield, not far from the Victorian state capital. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said they have had no reports of serious injuries, and that is very good news. The earthquake was also felt in neighbouring South Australia and New South Wales. It was followed by 2 aftershocks of 4 and 3.1 magnitude. While this is one of Australia's largest earthquakes in recent years, it does not appear to have caused significant damage. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan has said preventing women from accessing education in neighbouring Afghanistan would be un-Islamic. In an interview with the BBC, Mr. Khan laid out the conditions that would need to be met for Pakistan to formally recognise the new Taliban government. He called for the leadership to be inclusive and to respect human rights. Mr. Khan also said Afghanistan should not be used to house terrorists who could threaten Pakistan's security. Last week, the Taliban excluded girls from secondary schools with only boys and male teachers allowed back. But Pakistan's leader said he believed girls would soon be able to attend. China will not build new coal-fired projects abroad, a move that could be pivotal in tackling global emissions. President Xi Jinping made the announcement in his address at the United Nations General Assembly. China has been funding coal projects in countries like Indonesia and Vietnam under a massive infrastructure project known as the Belt and Road Initiative. But it has been under pressure to end the financing as the world tries to meet Paris Climate Agreement targets. Back to the headlines of the world news. Tremor rattles Southeast Australia. Pakistan Prime Minister says Afghan girls' school ban would be un-Islamic. China pledges to stop building new coal energy plants abroad. And that was world news. And on to development news, power generation in Sri Lanka has headed upwards over the years as defensiveness made the sector resilient against economic fluctuations, according to utilities sector Green Energy Powering the Transition Report 2021, compiled by the First Capital Research. Power generation measured in gigawatt hours has been continuously growing over the past decades while recording a 15-year compound annual growth rate of 6%, and it's expected to grow at even a faster pace over the next decade. And that was development news.
Sports news.
Singapore-based Coach Hub, the revolutionary sports tech platform, has signed a partnership with renowned South African cricketing legend Daryl Cullinan to expand its platform to cricket. Coach was launched in January this year as a solution to increasing market demand for an intelligent collaboration tool for sports, especially soccer. The company has seen rapid expansion across the world and is deployed across clubs and academies in Australia, Singapore, USA, UK, Netherlands, Japan, Lebanon, Ghana, Bermuda and Sri Lanka within the last 8 months. And that was sports news.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are. Download the NSB Pay app from the Play Store or the App Store for free now. For more information, call your nearest NSB branch or 0112 379 379. Conditions apply.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Expo 2020 Dubai is the latest edition of World Expos held around the world since 1851 and will be the first ever to be held in the Middle East, Africa and South Asia. Sri Lanka will participate in the mega event which commences on the 1st of October and is expected to attract over 25 million visitors to Dubai during its 6-month run. One of the key facets of the Sri Lankan contingent will be the specially designed pavilion which was officially handed over by the Dubai Expo team.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In economic news, headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the National Consumer Price Index decreased marginally to 6.7% in August 2021 from 6.8% in July 2021. This decline was entirely due to the statistical effect of the high base prevailed in August 2020. Meanwhile, food inflation year-on-year increased marginally to 11.1% in August 2021 from 11% in July 2021, while non-food inflation year-on-year decreased to 3% in August 2021 from 3.2% in July 2021. 2021.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report. The Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in most parts of the island during the evening or at night. Showers or thunder showers may occur at several places in the coastal areas extending from Putlam to Mathura, via Colombo and Galle in the morning. And that was the weather report. Back to the headlines of this news broadcast. The US President requests the world leaders to join hands to defeat COVID-19 pandemic and to overcome main challenges. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will address the summit at 9:30 p.m. local time today. The cabinet approves to increase debt ceiling by another 400 billion rupees. Sri Lanka to obtain an additional loan grant of $100 million from IMF to cover COVID expenses. 4 projects to control environmental pollution will be implemented. International news, tremor rattles Southeast Australia. And with that, we end this news broadcast.